With this, you have now acquired all of the spirit orbs from the shrines on this plateau. Oh, extraordinary. That means it is finally time. Link, it is finally time for me to tell you everything. But first, imagine an X on your map with the 4 shrines as the endpoints. Find the spot where those 4 lines intersect. I shall wait for you there. Do you understand? Where 2 lines connecting the shrines will cross, there, I will be waiting. So, what we want to do, look at the spot on the map where they intersect, and it seems to be the Temple of Time. Let's place a bacon on there. A bacon? What? Beacon, not bacon! Hello everybody, what's the gear to you, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Throughout the past couple episodes, we've been searching across the Great Plateau to collect the shrines in this place. And now, we have our next objective, to find the point in the map where all 4 shrines intersect into an X, and that place is the Temple of Time, which we've already marked on our map. However, we're not going to be going there quite yet, because this mountain over here, I'd like to go over this direction real quick. So, while I go across this area, I would like to explain a little bit about the creative process. Ah, there's a giant snowball, it hit my face, that's rude. So while I go across this area, I would like to explain a little bit about the creative process behind working on this Let's Play. So, when I was first playing through this game, I told myself, okay, I know I want to cover this game as a Let's Play at some point in the future, but I'm not going to work on any planning process or anything like that until after I finish the game myself, because as fun as it is to plan out Let's Plays, it also kind of takes the enjoyment out of it if I go into a first playthrough with the mindset that I'm going to Let's Play it someday. That's kind of what ruined The Legend of Zelda 4 Sword for me, to be completely honest. But that's basically it. I told myself not to plan out a series for this until after I already finished my first playthrough. We'll get more into that story in a little moment, but as for right now, it looks like we've reached our mountain. We gotta be careful about the stamina, though. So yeah, that's one thing that's definitely gonna take some getting used to this earlier on in the game is my stamina wheel. That might not seem like such a big deal for those playing this on the very first playthrough, but trust me, when you've been playing this game, when you've been replaying this game as often as I have, especially when you're playing on the Let's Play, it certainly feels weird having such little stamina on a new playthrough. But this right here, this is the highest point of the Great Plateau. We could check this right here, and there's some flint for us, which is going to be pretty useful. I mostly came up here because I wanted to demonstrate just how gorgeous this view is. We could see pretty far across Hyrule, and it's such a gorgeous sight. We can see most of the Great Plateau over here. We can see some pretty beautiful landmarks, like the bridge over there, and the volcano, the castle, those mountains over there. It's all such a very beautiful view. And this is something that I also want to do to point into perspective that throughout this Let's Play, we're going to see all of this. This will be 100% Let's Play after all. I'm crazy. So, another reason why I want to do this is because I want to go shield surfing. Whee! Like I mentioned plenty of times over the course of the past couple episodes, when you're shield surfing, your shield does not take any damage while you're surfing in the snow. If you're going across rocks or anything like that, or the grass, yeah, it definitely will break faster. But we're in the snow, so we have a snow problem. That's an uncreative pun, and I am not sorry. There's nothing you can do to stop my uncreative puns. So, as we make our way back over to the Temple of Time, going back to that story about the creative process for this Let's Play, I've been mentioning on social media several times that this was the major project, and there are a lot of pretty big things about planning out the series, like the fact that my notes for this Let's Play are like 40% larger than my actual book. Let's probably eat something real quick. That might be a good idea. Alright, so yeah, this has been a pretty big project. It's been a big part of my life for the past couple of years. But where it all started was the week that Splatoon 2 came out. Ah, now we're frozen! Ah! Okay, let's go defeat these enemies real quick. Ah, wee! There we go. Okay, we got... Ew, that's an eyeball, that's gross. Yeah, let's go pick up these materials. Also, now's probably a good time to demonstrate how Cryonis could be useful on the overworld. So, whenever you see bodies of water like this, you'll be able to get out of the water! Okay, it's worth mentioning that if you die from being frozen, the game over screen will change slightly. So, yeah, the coloring of the game over screen itself will change depending on how you die. It's usually red, but if you freeze to death, then it's blue. If you really want to, you could use Cryonis to go across the water, but it's not exactly the safest option right now, so even though it is an option for us at the moment, it's probably not the best way to get across. So we're going to be going back over to the bridge that we took to get to this side in the first place. Also, don't go down that waterfall, you will fall off the face of the earth if you do so right now, because we can't exactly leave the Great Plateau at the moment. So let's go over here. And now we can use Cryonis. It still sounds like a World of Xenoblade. Like you got Bionis, Mechonis, and Cryonis. But anyway, what I was trying to say a moment ago was that where it all started with planning out this project happened the week Splatoon 2 came out. So I pre-ordered that game off of Amazon, thinking that doing so, the game would be at my house the day that it came out, because that's usually how pre-orders are supposed to work. But for some reason, they didn't even ship it until like a week after the game came out. So I was kind of bummed out about the fact that this game that I was looking forward to for a very long time, I just wouldn't be able to play it at launch. So that was bumming me out. So I started another playthrough of Breath of the Wild, and as I was going through this playthrough, I was kind of thinking about what it would be like to let's play this game. Because on my first playthrough, even though I wasn't doing any actual work in planning it out, I still had some ideas on how I would want to cover this game. Like, one of the very first major ideas was how the end screens are going to work in this series, how you have your next episode button, and then you also have your alternate route options and things like that. That was one big thing that was kind of there from the very beginning. But I didn't actually do any work until I found out that I want to get Splatoon 2 until a week after it came out. So I started planning out this. I started planning out this project. I wrote down a list of ideas I had for the series, like the fact that it would be 100%. So I wrote down a to-do list of okay, what we need to research is all the shrines, all the Korok seeds, all the materials, and whatever miscellaneous topics I can think of whenever going across this area. And I'd also look into a bunch of research into some more trivia facts about this game, such as the more unique ways you can solve some of the puzzles in this world. So a huge chunk of my time planning out this project was playtesting all these ideas. So yeah, I've been playing Breath of the Wild for quite a while. I've replayed this game several times already on my own time, and I have every intention on doing so even after this Let's Play is over. So yeah, this series has been a big part of my life for quite a while, and it's honestly really hard to believe that I'm even recording this right now because I've been spending such a long time playing this out. I'm sure maybe at some point in the channel there'll probably be some other project that'll exceed how much time and effort goes into that series when compared to this one. Like how Earthbound was the biggest project that we ever did on the channel before Breath of the Wild. But still, as for right now, it's just very hard to believe that we're actually recording this series because of how much time and effort has gone into planning it out. But now, it's a brand new day. We've returned to the Temple of Time. And now you'd be wondering, how are we supposed to get up there? Our stamina exactly isn't enough to climb up these walls. Well, at least we would probably try, but I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have faith in my stamina abilities. So instead, what you want to do is that you want to go over this direction, and oh, there's a ladder. Maybe you're wondering why I'm going through the effort of pointing this out. Because I cannot tell you how many times I've seen somebody starting to play through this game not knowing this ladder was right here. They spent a really long time trying to figure out some kind of creative way to get on top of the building, not knowing that ladder is there. And some of them have found some pretty great ways of getting up here, but then I point out, hey, do you know there's a ladder right there? And they were like, what? There was a ladder there the entire time? So that's something that's always amusing to think about.
Well done there, young one. Now then, The time has come to show you who I truly am. I was King Rome Bosphoramos Hyrule. I was the last leader of Hyrule. A kingdom which no longer exists. The Great Calamity was merciless. It devastated everything in its path, a century ago. It was then that my life was taken away from me. And since that time, here I have remained in spirit form. I did not think it wise to overwhelm you while your memory was still fragile. So rather than that, I thought it best to assume a temporary form. Forgive me. I think you are now ready. Ready to hear what happened 100 years ago. To know Calamity Ganon's true form, one must know the story from an age long past. The Demon King was born into this kingdom, but his transformation into malice created the horror you see now. Stories of Ganon were passed from generation to generation in the form of legends and fairy tales. But there was also a prophecy. The signs of a resurrection of Calamity Ganon are clear, and the power to oppose it lies dormant beneath the ground. We decided to heed the prophecy and began excavating large areas of land. It wasn't long before we discovered several ancient relics made by the hands of our distant ancestors. These relics, the divine beasts, were giant machines piloted by warriors. We also found the Guardians, an army of mechanical soldiers who fought autonomously. This coincided with ancient legends, oft repeated throughout our land. We also learned of a princess with a sacred power, and her appointed knight, chosen by the sword that seals the darkness. It was they who sealed Ganon away using the power of these ancient relics. 100 years ago, there was a princess set to inherit a sacred power, and a skilled knight at her side. It was clear that we must follow our ancestors' path. We selected 4 skilled individuals from across Hyrule and tasked them with the duty of piloting the divine beasts. With the princess as their commander, we dubbed these pilots champions, a name that would solidify their unique bond. The princess, her appointed knight, and the rest of the champions were on the brink of sealing away Ganon. But nay. Ganon was cunning, and he responded with a plan beyond our imagining. He appeared from deep below Hyrule Castle, seized control of the Guardians and the divine beasts, and turned them against us. The champions lost their lives, those residing in the castle as well. The appointed knight, gravely wounded, collapsed while defending the princess. And thus, the kingdom of Hyrule was devastated absolutely by Calamity Ganon. However, the princess survived to face Ganon alone.
Link, you are our final hope. The fate of Hyrule rests with you.
That princess was my own daughter, my dear Zelda. And the courageous knight who protected her right up to the very end. That night was none other than you, Link. You fought valiantly when your fate took an unfortunate turn. And then, you were taken to the Shrine of Resurrection. Here you now stand, revitalized 100 years later. The words of guidance you have been hearing since your awakening are from Princess Zelda herself. Even now, as she works to restrain Ganon from within Hyrule Castle, she calls out for your help. However, my daughter's power will soon be exhausted. Once that happens, Ganon will freely regenerate himself, and nothing will stop him from consuming our land. Considering that I could not save my own kingdom, I have no right to ask this of you, Link. But I am powerless here. You must save her, my daughter, and do whatever it takes to annihilate Ganon. Somehow, Ganon has maintained control over all 4 divine beasts, as well as those guardians swarming around Hyrule Castle. I believe it would be quite reckless for you to head directly to the castle at this point. I suggest that you make your way east out to one of the villages in the wilderness. Follow the road out to Kakariko Village. There you will find the Elder Impa. She will tell you more about the path that lies ahead. Consult the map on your Sheikah slate for the precise location of Kakariko Village. Make your way past the twin summits of the dueling peaks. From there, follow the road as it proceeds north.
Go on. Here's the paraglider, just as I promised. With that, you should be able to safely fly off the cliffs surrounding this area. And I think that's it. I've told you everything I can. A new objective, destroy Ganon. Seek out Impa. Inventory is full. Of course it is. So, at this point, we can now leave the Great Plateau. And our main objective is to go over to the Dueling Peaks and search out Kakariko Village beyond those mountains. That's going to be it for this episode of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, though. But before we do that, let me explain how this particular end screen is going to work. The next episode button will take you to the path that will lead to Kakariko Village. Your alternate route is to take your time getting there and taking care of some miscellaneous side quests and objectives across the Dueling Peaks region itself. The Korok Seed button, however, will take you to the Koroks that are located on the Great Plateau itself. So, if you're looking for Korok Seeds, we're still going to be looking for them here. If you want to look for the Korok Seeds in the Dueling Peaks region, look for the next episode. But now, let's talk about that 4th button on the end screen. At any point, right now, we can head straight for Hyrule Castle and fight Ganon. So, you can end this Let's Play at any point you want, because now I'm giving you the Destroy Ganon button. With this button, it'll take you to the finale of this Let's Play, where we'll go straight for Hyrule Castle and take care of Ganon now. But keep in mind, the final boss will change slightly depending on how much progress you've made on the overworld. So, going for the castle right now will give you a slightly different ending than it would if you were to do some other objectives across the game. Obviously, we won't go into that right now because of spoilers, but those are your 4 options. The next episode button, alternate route, Korok Seeds, or Destroy Ganon. So, thank you all so much for watching this episode of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've been Lady Gear to you, and where would you like to go next?